It is quite the gloomy evening tonight at Goodison Park as Everton take on Arsenal. But it is not all doom and gloom for either side supporter, for Arsenal and Everton sit high up the table at first and second place respectively. Both teams won their first match, beating their opponents by 3-1, Arsenal beating Crystal Palace at home and Everton winning against Leicester City at the King Power Stadium. Everton manager Roberto Martinez has made a couple of changes to his squad. Exciting young centre-back John Stones joins a backline of Seamus Coleman, Phil Jagielka and Leighton Baines. James McCarthy and Danny Gibson will take up a more central midfield role, with the experienced Gareth Barry breaking up play as the sole defensive mid. Kevin Morales, Steven Pienaar and Samuel Eto'o will all be threats going forward, with Steven Pienaar looking to continue his excellent performance against Leicester City. Arsenal manager Rohan Raj has left his side virtually unchanged, with Mikel Arteta the only change, subbing in for Jack Wilshere. Mesut Ozil was handed his first match ball for his performance against Crystal Palace, although with a more physical opponent in Gareth Barry, it will be interesting to see how he performs. And the referee kicks off what is sure to be a very interesting match. Two newcomer managers with two very strong teams in this early season battle. Arsenal captain Per Mertesacker on the ball, passes it to Debuchy, he passes it back to him. Now to Koscielny to Gibbs, to Arteta, to Sanchez, to Gibbs. This is some fluid, crisp passing here by Arsenal in the early minutes. And this is looking very dangerous from Arsenal. And a free header for Ozil and he doesn't miss. Arsenal making Everton pay for some terrible early defending. Jagielka rushing in too early. Gareth Barry caught ball watching. And that gives Ozil his second goal in the Barclays Premier League and also his second headed goal for the Arsenal. And here you can see Jagielka rushes in and all he does is catch grass. And that was a free header from Mesut Ozil because of some really poor defending from Gareth Barry. And even then he almost managed to miss that header. Got a lucky deflection off the crossbar and it's 1-0 to Arsenal. Now can Everton atone for their earlier mistakes? The one silver lining that they do have is that the game is hardly over and they do have the home support, which will be crucial for them. Pienaar on the ball now. He gets the pass to McCarthy, who made a run from deep midfield. McCarthy to Eto'o. This is looking dangerous. Eto'o to Morales and Chesney. Oh, how did he miss it? How did Morales miss an open net? That is unbelievable. He is usually a pretty reliable striker, but somehow completely misses an empty goalpost. Chesney lunged in far too quickly, but it's still 1-0 Arsenal. Koscielny on the ball now. Pass it to Welbeck, who has dropped pretty deep from his striking position to help out in midfield. Ozil to Welbeck and then to Arteta. Arteta to Ramsey. When Arsenal do have the ball in this early stage, they seem to be passing pretty fluidly, but there Everton cuts out that attack. Barry on the ball now, passes it to McCarthy. McCarthy to Gibson. Gibson then tries to pass to Pienaar, but it doesn't work out. But Leighton Baines has the ball now. He passes it to Pienaar. This is again looking pretty dangerous from Everton. Pienaar trying a 1-2 pass with Barry, but it doesn't seem to have worked out. He still has the ball though. Some lucky deflections for Everton. And now they're in Arsenal's final third. Debuchy makes a pretty important last-ditch challenge. And the ball's back to Arsenal. Not for long though, because McCarthy comes back to cut that attack out. Baines is on the ball. Back to Barry. Barry to Eto'o. Can he find the 1-2 pass? No, he doesn't. He's still on the ball though. The ball's with Darren Gibson now. Back to Barry. They're making a ton of passes next to Arsenal's penalty box, but they can't seem to find a shot though. Gibson on the ball. This is very nerve-wracking times for Arsenal. Coleman on the ball now. I'm surprised he didn't take a shot though. And Eto'o with the shot, and Chesney can handle it easily. Really surprising that Seamus Coleman didn't try to fire one in. He was known for those long shots and finding the back of the net from way outside the penalty box last season. He scored 6 goals for Everton, most of them coming in from long range. There is some speculation that Arsenal might be interested in purchasing him, and if Everton lose him, they would be losing a pretty focal point of their attack. But here's Arsenal back in possession, Ramsey on the ball. He runs past Barry as if he was not there at all. He's making that lung-bursting run from deep midfield, which is exactly what he was known for in the past season. He passes it to Welbeck. Oh, how did he miss? He couldn't have missed from so close. That was almost as painful a miss as Morales' one in a couple minutes ago. And Danny Welbeck will be very disappointed in himself for missing that one. Everton escaped. The score is still 1-0 Arsenal. Howard's ready to kick the ball. Edo wins the ball very easily in midfield. Arsenal lack that physicality that top teams usually have. They need that Matic type character or that Marwan Fellaini to really win the title or be genuine title contenders. But here is Barry again on the ball. Everton putting crazy pressure. Pienaar, and yet another sorry miss from Everton. Pienaar couldn't even get a shot on target there. Poor miss. Debuchy on the ball. Pass it to Ozil, to Ramsey. Ramsey passes it to Arteta. He's making a run forward, which is a rarity. Ozil back to Arteta, and that's a terrible mistake by Seamus Coleman. Passes Jagielka, and Danny Welbeck, can he finish it? Yes, he has. In the end of the day, it is an easy finish for Danny Welbeck, and 2-0 Arsenal. A complete turnaround from their usual possession-based football. They've instead attacked Everton with two vicious counter-attacks, and they were of course helped by some terrible defensive mistakes on Everton's part. Here you can see Arteta moving up in front, caught Coleman by surprise, and there's really no excuse for his defensive frailties over there. John Stones as well doing a terrible job, and Danny Welbeck with some good tenacity to put the ball in the net after all that commotion. Barry on the ball, passes it to McCarthy. McCarthy to Pienaar, back to McCarthy. Everton are trying a million passes in Arsenal's final third, but just can't seem to find that incisive pass, and there Arteta with some dogged defending. And Ramsey tries to pass it back to Ozil, but Barry gets the ball. That's some good defensive work there by Ozil tracking back. But here's Eto'o, and he really should have done much better there. Everton on the ball again. Barry to Pienaar. Debuchy tracking him. Oh, great sliding challenge there by Debuchy. He's done really well to contain both Baines and Pienaar, who can be quite the nuisance for teams down the left-hand side. And here's Ozil on the ball. Runs past McCarthy. This is a mazy run. Great dribbling here by Mesut Ozil. Can he find the ball though? He does manage to find Walcott. That's an early cross to Welbeck, and that's a good header. Good try from Welbeck. That was going to be a tough chance to bury that in the back of the net. Arteta passes the ball to Koscielny. Koscielny to Walcott. And that's exactly what Walcott can do so well. He blitzes past the more aggressive Leighton Baines. And can he get the ball to Welbeck now? The ball was a little bit behind, but Danny Welbeck probably should have done a bit better than what he did there. And that's the end of the first half. The score is 2-0 to Arsenal. It seems they've surprised everyone here. It seems like they did set up for a more counter-attacking strategy, and it seems to have paid off. Everton have the majority of the possession, but at the end of the day, it's the goals that matter, and Arsenal have 2 while Everton have 0. And Everton kick off the second half. They're looking to claw back a 2-0 deficit. It'll be interesting to see if Roberto Martinez would have changed their team tactics during halftime, but we'll come to know soon enough. Here's Eto'o, and Mertesacker is tracking him, but not very closely, and here's Pienaar. Oh, that's a great little nutmeg by Pienaar, and he is free over here. Can he get the good cross needed? No, Gibbs is there to clear, but a positive start from Everton. Barry tracks back and gets the ball back from Welbeck. Ball's with Barry now. He passes it to Kevin Mirallas. Mirallas with a great ball from Darren Gibson, and who else but Steven Pienaar scores yet another goal for Everton. He's continuing his great start to the season, and that was an amazing cross there by Darren Gibson to find him. And Everton are right back in it. The perfect start to the second half for the home team. And as we can see, the move obviously started with Barry. And what's different this time is Everton didn't make a million passes around Arsenal's final third. And perhaps Arteta should have marked Darren Gibson instead of sticking to his position in front of the defenders. In any case, that was a great ball by Kevin Mirallas. But Darren Gibson still had a lot to do. He could have either aimed for Eto'o or for Steven Pienaar, but he made the right choice in the end. Pienaar cut in past Debuchy, and that's one of the few times that the Arsenal defender hasn't been on top of his man. Barry on the ball now. He seems to be moving forward a lot more, performing more of a box-to-box role than in the first half. He finds Pienaar though. Pienaar trying to cut in, but finds Baines instead. Baines back to Pienaar. If he can get a good cross in, this would be deadly, but Mertesacker is there to head the clearance out. Oh, but here's some defensive problems for Arsenal, and Kevin Mirallas, can he get the shot off? Szczesny with a good save though, and it's still 2-1 Arsenal. Everton with the ball now. Mirallas passes it to Baines. Baines is bombing down this left-hand side as he usually does. Barry with the ball. Mirallas again. This is again looking very dangerous for Arsenal. Pienaar, and misses the target again. That is almost a replica of his miss in the first half. He really needs to hit the target better from those angles. And Szczesny with the goal kick decides to go long. Finds Welbeck. Great headed pass to Mesut Ozil. Can he find the 1-2 now? Oh, and Mesut Ozil is clear and decides to chip Tim Howard, and it doesn't work out. 70 minutes gone and the pressure is mounting on Arsenal. They would do well to just hold the ball, and they don't need to try anything fancy. Just keep a hold of the ball for as long as possible and play defensive, and they probably will win the game. Arteta with the ball now. Long pass to Walcott. Good little through ball to Ramsey. Ramsey is able to chest it down. He keeps a hold of the ball. Passes it to Walcott. And Walcott with a burst of speed that leaves John Stones embarrassed. And great cross to Welbeck, and he unfortunately hits only Tim Howard. And Rohan Raj decides to make 2 substitutions. Mesut Ozil comes off for Santi Cazorla, and Danny Welbeck comes off for Olivier Giroud. Now Giroud could be quite a big player in the last 15 minutes of this game. He is quite the threat at attacking corners, and he can be very useful at defending corners as well. Let's see how he does now. Koscielny has the ball. Oh, and that was incredibly close. A great try from long distance by the centre back, and that made Tim Howard incredibly nervous. Inches wide. Almost close to 80 minutes now. Arteta on the ball. Pass it to Cazorla. And Pienaar manages to get a good tackle on Ramsey, but unfortunately it's called for a foul. Ramsey takes the free kick quickly. Pass it back to Arteta. To Gibbs. Back to Szczesny. Rohan Raj pretty deliberately wants Arsenal to play very defensively. But Everton have the ball now. Let's see if they can conjure up something. Lukaku on the ball. Eto'o had been subbed off for Lukaku earlier. Oh, and that's a beautiful try. And Seamus Coleman. And he probably shouldn't have tried that through ball. And it's back to Arsenal. He was in a great position. He probably should have just tried to take the shot from there. But here's Everton back on the counter-attack. Pienaar to Lukaku. And McCarthy has the ball now. This is some unrelenting pressure from Everton. Debuchy manages to pass it to Walcott. Walcott trying to get the 1-2. No, doesn't work out. Giroud with the tackle and free kick to Everton. 87 minutes gone. Arsenal clinging to their 2-1 lead. Arteta on the ball now to Ramsey, to Cazorla. Cazorla passes it back to Arteta. Back to Ramsey. This is a whole bunch of passing by Arsenal, and that's exactly what they want to do. Cazorla on the ball. Dribbles a little bit and passes it to Arteta. Arsenal getting slowly up in front. Giroud on the ball now. Passes it to Arteta. This is pretty risky, but Giroud actually gets the ball, and that's not a great volley. A great little through ball by Arteta. Every time he gets in front, something magical seems to happen. But this time Giroud wasn't there to provide the crucial finish. Tim Howard's free kick gives Arsenal the possession. Arteta to Debuchy, to Walcott. He passes it to Giroud. And Giroud passes it all the way back to Szczesny. Very defensive move from Giroud. What is Szczesny doing there? And oh my god, this is a calamity. That is calamitous for Arsenal. A terrible moment from Szczesny, and that is just the worst way to concede a goal. Szczesny must be kicking himself. Rohan Raj will be furious. But the game is 2-2. Everton have tied it in the 92nd minute. And that is it for the game. Arsenal and Everton end the game at 2-2. Arsenal almost showing us how to run a perfect counter-attacking game. But almost is the key word. Apart from a terrible decision from Szczesny, Everton scored their other goal from Pienaar after a great cross from Darren Gibson. Arsenal's goals came mainly from quick counterattacks down the wings, after which they had no problems dropping deep to defend. The manager will be disappointed that he couldn't claim 3 points and will definitely think of it as 2 points dropped. Hope you enjoyed our presentation this evening. See you next time.